Hi there, Mr. Mayo here with another practice tip. Today we're going to talk about mixing up where you start when you first are learning a piece. There are a lot of musicians and ensembles that do the right things when they first practice, but they still have a lot of problems when it comes to actually working on a piece of music. They get their materials together, they stretch adequately, they warm up, and they focus on their technique. Then when they actually dive into their music, they always start at the very beginning, which isn't always a bad thing, but I think it's worth thinking about starting in different places. Sure, when you first begin a piece, it's a great idea to start at the beginning. That way you can get the gist of the work and know where your problem spots are. When I'm still in the learning stages of the piece, after I've warmed up adequately and focused on my technique, I then try to start on my problem spots. That way I can improve upon what I struggle with. When playing music, the number of repetitions is important. If you always start at the very beginning, that means you're most likely going to have the most repetitions at the very beginning. That's usually the part of the music that's going to sound the best. Often we see this in performance of ensembles when they start at the very beginning of a piece and it sounds fantastic and it just progressively declines in performance values as they progress towards the end. That's why I always start with problem spots, because those are most likely the sections that I need the most repetitions on. And if I start with those spots, I'm going to have the most repetitions when it comes to a performance, and they're more likely to sound better. After I actually know a piece, I still like to mix it up some. Often like to identify the climactic parts of the piece. We want to make sure these parts always sound great. These are good spots to work, focus on musicality, focusing on style, and making sure that we have the composer's intent. Another great spot to start is at the end of the piece. So pick the last phrase and work on it. Then take the next to the last phrase, work on that some, piece it together with the last phrase. Then take the phrase before that, work on that, and piece it together with the other phrases. If you do this over time, you'll notice you're piecing it towards the very beginning. Starting at the end often ensures that the ending of the piece sounds great. You always want to end on a good note. Get it? Sometimes I just pick a random rehearsal mark to start out in the work. You need to be careful that you work the piece evenly. Does the whole piece sound great? If not, take notes on the spots that aren't as great and make sure you start there with your next practice session. Hope this practice tip makes your whole piece sound great. Feel free to subscribe for future videos. Stay safe and go practice.